hello everyone. I think we are all set. Bien. Greedfall II. Hello, I'm Professor McCoy. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Right. You may have noticed, may or may not have noticed, I don't know, perhaps, that they did a little bit of, there we go, twiddling with my volume a little bit. Apologies. There we go, that's better. They changed the music a bit. If you remember the first game, it is the same main theme, but this one is a lyrical variant. And I've been sitting here while I've been twiddling with my settings, just listening to it, and it is fantastic. Okay, I'm loving this. Good evening, Grace. I'm doing well. Doing well. So, all right, yeah, let's jump into it. Actually, you know what? No, first, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna talk over the music a little bit. Can you guys hear me? First of all, can you hear me okay? This is as loud as the game is going to get. It is maxing out the volume right now. But if I cannot be heard over it, I will turn it down a little bit, if that's going to be an issue. So let me know that before we really get into things, because I want to make sure my volume settings are okay. But also, while we do that, I'll yap a little bit about this game and this game series. So this is Greedfall II: The Dying World. This is the second. I think this is just the second game from the studio, Spiders. I don't know if they made anything other than Greedfall, which came out in 21, maybe, something like that. Anyway, it's came out some time ago. And it was really good for what it is, which is very much a AA RPG. It is a very small studio. It is a fairly low budget game for what it is, for being a fully voiced, fully rendered 3D ARPG. Yeah, no, it was actually quite good. The first game, I know it got kind of mixed reviews, and this one also got pretty mixed reviews. So I don't know, temper your expectations a little bit, but if it's anything like the first one, I will have minor complaints, perhaps. That's about it. There's some clunkiness in the first game in terms of quest design and things like that. And there was a little bit of, I don't know, what would you call it? Crunchy paganism, I guess, in terms of the sort of thematics and messaging of the game. But you know what? What are you gonna do? It's about colonization and, quite frankly, colonialism. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what to expect from this one. I do know that this is a prequel, so it's set a few years before the previous game. So if you didn't play or didn't watch me play the previous game, there should not be a whole lot of major spoilers in this one. At least I don't think so. And you also hopefully won't be too lost. I'm sure there's going to be world-building elements that I'm going to have to comment on and maybe fill us in on. But anyway. All right. You know what? I'm a little bit. So Grace in particular, since you're actively commenting in here, how's our audio balance? Is the game too loud? It feels. I'm just looking at my levels over here on the other screen. It looks to me like my voice is barely reaching the peak audio of the music. I'll turn it down a little more. Hopefully that's better. If it winds up being too loud or me being too quiet, just, let me know in the chat and I'll fiddle around with it and fix it. Tactical, hybrid, or focused. Oh god, okay. Right. Select a profile that seems to best match the experience you're seeking. You can change or customize your profile at any time. Okay. Tactical, hybrid, or focused. Okay. Okay, it can drown yet? Okay. I did turn it down by around a decibel or so. And hopefully this is, like I said, this is as loud as the game is going to get. Maximum volume right now. So, if it's still a little too much, then okay. I'll still fiddle with it, but... Oh, wow, okay. Interesting. I had heard that the gameplay was a lot more tactical than the previous game. The tactical offers comprehensive comprehensive experience in character management and combat, autonomous team on command, extensive options for camera controls, extensive options for tactical pause. Recommended. I mean, if it's recommended, I'd probably just go with it. So they're leaning far, far more into the CRPG than ARPG. Because the last game was absolutely an action-based RPG. I'm gonna just go with tactical, I guess. Because, like, looking at that, because I haven't actually seen anything of this game other than the trailers. I don't know. Oh, I have heard, though, that the gameplay is a lot more tactical focused than the previous game. But I didn't quite expect this to look like Larian-style tactics. Is it it's not turn-based, is it? Gosh, alright, well, whatever. Let's see. You know what? It says recommended. Let's follow the recommendations. Let's just go for it. Adventure. Oh. Story adventure. Oh my god, there's an invincible setting. What? Custom. Oh, okay. Okay. So it's basically story mode, game mode, challenge mode. Okay, fair enough. I don't want... Okay. You know what this is reminding me of? As far as the gameplay looks like, just looking at these options, this is reminding me a lot of Dragon Age Origins, which is a good thing. I mean, I can fiddle with these settings at any time. So this is fine. I'm just going to leave it on medium settings. Yeah, so all that tactical changes is not the AI or anything. It just decreases my damage and increases enemy damage, which I don't... No. I'm just going to go with normal. Alright. Ooh. Alright, let's kick it. Also, if I'm blocking any UI elements at any point, tell me, and I'll move either up there or over there. Nothing. Oh, God. When the game loads, I get jittery. Okay. We're doing okay. So we're starting on Tier 40.
If you want this portrait to bear any resemblance to you, stop fidgeting.
Exactly.
Stand up straight.
They're starting the game exactly the same as the last one, except on Tier 40 instead of on the continent. What in the world?
Hold that pose.
Oh my god, alright. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? This is how the character creator works, I suppose. Okay. That looks a great deal like Siora. I mean, it's not. It looks a lot like Siora from the first game. No, this is actually quite gorgeous. Ooh, I'm having issues with some lag, but it's okay. You know, maybe I'll just go with one of the presets. He looks normal.
What brought you to Tier Fradi?
What brought... Hello, Forkan.
Hello, Forkan.
Oh, they're just male, female. Okay, fair enough. Huh. Dude, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Wait, why does it say non-customizable? I guess it doesn't let you edit the facial features? I like this. A lot of ornamentation. That looks like... No. That actually kind of fits the character. It's very basic. It might be alright. I might just go with the default. I kind of dig it. Oh boy, that is. I guess they have hair gel. All right. All right. For me, it's gonna be between this one. Okay, so what exact flavor of fantasy is it? It is Age of Sail, but with magic. Or maybe you call it Age of Exploration, but with magic. I might need to turn down my graphic settings, I'm realizing. OBS is having problems capturing me without lag. If it becomes a problem, do let me know in the chat. But it's the one of the main themes of the game is essentially colonialism or colonization. It is so the world setting is something like it is roughly equivalent to 16th, 17th century Earth. It is strictly, you'd call it low fantasy because it is there are not really non-human rational animals. There are big scary monsters and stuff, of course. But it's essentially Michael, you might need to stand by if he needs me. Yep. Okay, actually, you know what? Hold on a second. I will be back in a moment. Stare at Pretty Boy over here for a moment, would you? There we go, we're back. No, Imp, this is not, yet again, not an 11th century low fantasy game. In fact, I don't know of any roughly 11th century low fantasy games. Maybe I'll look. If you find one, I'll think about playing it. But anyway, so the basic world setting is there is the continent, which is the old world, think Europe, and then there is this island civilization, Tir Fradee, which think North America but small, but like island rather than continent. Big island, but still island nonetheless. And the first game is about these three continental powers establishing their civilization on this island of Tir Fradee, and working with and in conflict with both the natives, which are people like this guy. And so in the previous game, you played as a colonist from a group called the Merchants Congregation, which is basically a mercantilist empire, if you will. Nation, empire, whatever. Then there is the faction of the nation or whatever of religious extremists. That is San Mateus. That was the city. Taleme, that's what it's called. It's not Christian per se, but it has a lot of Christian elements to it. A lot of it is there are some elements making it seem, obscene in an extremist sort of way. But there's the religious extremists, Taleme. And then you have the Bridge Alliance, which are the sort of the token atheistic Mohammedans obsessed with science, basically. They're so there's a lot of merchants versus religion versus science versus nature kind of conflicts going on in the first game. With the natives of Tier 4D representing more nature. So this game, like I said, takes place several years before the first one. So before your character comes to this island of Tier 4D, and you play as a native. And I believe you get taken to the continent, because a lot of the promotional stuff was that that a lot of the game takes place in the old world on the continent, and a lot of it is trying to escape, but also trying to live there and interact with all these people. So we're going to be playing, presumably, this guy. I'm not sure if he is given a name, or if we have to come up with one. But the naming conventions for the natives are interesting. There's a lot of... it's like a combination of Welsh, probably some Old English, mixed in with, I don't know if language, but certainly with sort of dialect and like vocal patterns of Native Americans, mostly Northeast Native Americans rather than Southern or out West. That does not look natural. Yeah, that looks normal. Yeah, so the background music now is, well, like I said, once again, this is on Tier 4D. This is on the island, which I actually think I recognize this village from the first game, if I'm not mistaken. But by the way, the first game started with the same kind of character customization conceit, which is that someone is there trying to make a portrait of your character, and so you are essentially, tweaking your character. I'm just gonna go with default guy. I like him. That is a cool character design, and I'm assuming the non-customizable appearances are going to be relatively. They're going to be maybe more expressive. Advanced. Type 1 typed. Really? We're doing that? Wow. Dang, there's some pretty deep customization. All right. Okay, let's go to skills. All right. 1600s tech. There are, in fact, muskets. Yes. Muskets, bombs, cannons, various other kinds of gunpowder, like explosives, big galleon sailing ships, advanced stonework and metallurgy. It is absolutely early modern in its technological and cultural basis, rather than being medieval or even Renaissance. It is very much early modern in its aesthetics, in all that. Quite cool. Okay, character profile. Mobile melee fighter specialized in weapons, defense, and control. Starting weapon, mountain, puzzle. Sorry, what? Hunter. Archer specialized in dealing scourges. Scourges. Deny God, which is a mage. In versatile Tier 4D and magic. Obsidian warrior. Swords, taunts, and dodging. Wild fighter. Elite shooter. High cost and consumables. I don't know about that. Spellcaster. Tier 4D and magic, inflicting scourges. Living blade. Weapons. Melee fighter. Weapons, party support, control. Scout. Do-gooder stance. Yes, I did finish Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Yes. Thy will be done too, so to speak. Archer specialism, party support. Healer in Tier 40 and healing magic. Party-wide healing and favors. Warlord. Ooh, fencing weapons. Swords and party sports skills. Okay. God, I don't know what to do here. There's a lot of options. I kind of want to be a healer of some kind. You're picky with the game setting. Fable is cool. Yeah, Fable is pretty unique, honestly. It's a very modern view of fantasy, which is kind of what I was talking about last night. The guns and setting already turned me off playing it. Oh, of this one? We'll still watch and likely enjoy it, but it isn't that French painting RPG. Well, it's not the French painting RPG, that is true. It's definitely not. Kingdom Come feels too modern. Jeez. That's old school for me. I mean, to be fair, it's outside my period of historical interest and expertise but only by like 100 years, 120 years, something like that. I prefer the 13th century to the very late 14th, but you know, that's me. I could dig this because the Age of Sail stuff is really cool. It already has a cool aesthetic. Think like what are they called? Those not armets. Like the conquistador helmets, the one that almost looks like a bicorn hat but made of steel. There are those things all over the place, and like breastplates are quite typical. But the main difference is that there is still melee. There's still melee combat, mostly because there is magic in the world. You know what? Maybe I'll just go... Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with light fencing weapons and healing magic. I'm doing Warlord. Let's go for it. Oh, remove. Oh, okay. I don't have any available points, so that's all. That's all we got. Yeah, 1500s early age of exploration. No, this is, like I said, this is more... This is closer to 17th century. This is like maybe late 16th. Age of Consolidation, where they were mostly done exploring and fighting over land they took from other people they wiped out. Oh, yeah, so Napoleonic Wars and such. Okay, I'm not going to mess with this. I'm going to leave my basic settings and assume that it's probably correct where it needs to be. Oh, Teleme rings. Okay, weapons of war, ranged weapons, rifle or bow. Traps and pistols. endurance and focus. I'm going to put a point into will, because I might eventually go with magic. I can't resist magic in this game. Strength, agility, awareness, and willpower. Yeah, there we go. Constitution, concentration, useful for all profiles. Okay, I figured. Alright, let's do it. Yeah. Oh, you're going to fight below? That's like inflation dollar store, right? Get me some knickknacks. I like knickknacks from places like that.
Why have you been drawing all these sketches?
So that your island can be appreciated by the rest of the world. Everything is new for us here. We have so much to learn, and who knows, the flora of your country could very well save mine.
Save it from this sickness you told me about.
The Malachor, yes. This is what I hope, in any case. It's taken so many lives back home. I do hope we haven't brought it here, too. I heard there were some sick people in the village. Let's talk about something else. This is the big day, is it not?
Yes. Today is the day Nilan and I begin our initiation.
Ah, I thought as much when I saw that strange woman appear in the village. Congratulations, you must... your mother approaches and she doesn't seem too pleased to see you with me.
Frafindem o'i raugum tokas arynnoig se. Adifen, cahole a siart kids kwesa pwysig ac daregu saganeddi esa. Ad fel dy ole seneded. Toig mend minan veluded.
Do you see what I mean about the language? It's very interesting. I talked a lot about the language in the last playthrough, and I'm probably going to comment on it a little more this time, because I'm sure we're probably going to hear a lot more of it, especially early on. Is this an important choice? I feel like this is going to be one of those like critical choices later on. Let's stay with the old worlder. The Ranoigse.
Oh, riaidam everach avatir. Radit gama garantam no.
Navreg da gomorosi neis valem. Ad gailu dadem eschredas donegad sadiu.
The Negad.
Fravind avatir. Radidu dadem riaidam everach.
Ma, de vreg dat arus. Tage tokata garantam.
Okay.
Shouldn't you get going? I don't wish to be the cause of you getting in trouble with your mother.
I mean, okay, I guess I'll go. Where's
Tell me about your people. The lions.
It is
Okay,
funny
Bridge
that you
Alliance,
call
yeah.
us lions. Because that symbol actually comes from a different nation than the one I call home. The coat of arms you're familiar with belongs to the Bridge Alliance. And it uses symbols from each of the peoples that make up the alliance. The lion is on the Mosinian coat of arms, but the Sinopole, another name for green, and the gold come from my nation, Tainea, and the azure from Thraxis. The three nations who make up the alliance are very different, but they have a common interest in fighting the same enemies. They fight side by side, sharing ideas, research, and goods. To the outside world, they are seen as a single people. But believe me, Morsinis are nothing like the scholars of Tainea or the boyars of Thraxis.
Boyars? Interesting. This is all new. Like I said, the Bridge Alliance seemed relatively monolithic, though, of course, the name Alliance does indicate that this is that it would be somewhat more diverse.
What is Morsinia?
It is an ancient island nation to the far north of the continent, with a climate similar to yours. they are more isolated and protected from the Empire and Thélème, though part of their
Empire.
population adheres to a similar religion. However, they decided to join the Alliance to safeguard their independence and religious difference from their neighbors' proselytizing zeal. They are normally ruled by a queen, but they have an assembly of nobles and representatives of cities who advise her and make the laws. They are a refined, cultured people, and their science is admirable, but they're rather haughty.
Okay. And you said you're from Thania?
You mentioned your country, Twenia. What can you tell me about
Oh yeah, they also don't have...
Compared
there's
to
a lot of
your island,
phonemes missing.
It is a
from the,
dry
native
country with
language.
no large forests like you have here. But our stone is rich in minerals. We have sprawling,
Like
beautiful
the
cities.
theta, they're missing
as well
TH.
as small fishing, mining, farming villages. Above all, it is a land of scholars, where science is celebrated and honored. It is governed by an assembly of wise men we call Sotharks, who are elected by each region for their great knowledge. I could explain our political system in detail, but frankly, it's rather complex and very different from yours.
Okay, what about Thraxis? That seems to be the sort of core of the Bridge Alliance.
You mentioned another people of the Alliance. Traxis?
Thraxis is a vast territory that became a nation fairly recently. My country even tried to conquer it at one point. It must be said that for centuries, their chiefs did nothing but fight amongst themselves. Actually, it was the attack by my nation that pushed them to rally against a common enemy and ultimately forged them into a nation. They are formidable horsemen, and their cavalry is a major asset in the war against Thélème and the Empire. They are coarse and unscientific,
What
but
empire?
without them, we'd probably have ended up bending the knee to our enemies.
Okay. Okay, so the dynamic seems to be that Morsinia is basically a subservient client nation that might have some connection to Tier 4D in some way. Thymia or Thynia, not sure if it has the TH phoneme, but Thymia, because I'll just use the native pronunciation, I guess, is the seat of learning and science and mineral resources and whatnot. But also, they get that. That's where the Bridge Alliance gets its obsession with science, whereas Thraxis is where it gets its parallel obsession with militarism. Because, like I said, I called it a kind of atheistic Mohammedanism, which I probably stand by, but we'll see how this goes if we wind up finding our way there. It does actually track, then, that we have something like a spiritualism, something like a group of scholars, and then something like a group of desert warriors. That does kind of seem like a late medieval vision of Islam. But what about this Malachor? This was a major plot point of the first game. This was basically the reason that Desarde, the main character of the first game, even came to Tier 4D, was trying to find a cure to the Malachor, because his mother was dying of it. She was, even if he found a cure, she was almost certainly not going to make it because it's months of travel to get there or back by ship. But in any case, he was hoping to, on behalf of his people, find something here on Tier 4D that would work as a cure. He did basically kind of sort of wind up doing that, but that's I don't want to spoil that game, because it was actually really good and I recommend playing it. I do recommend it.
What's so special about the illness you told me about?
Sorry about the
It's a
squeaking, my chair's
disease we
been a
didn't
little
know
bit
anything about. It wasn't mentioned in any of our ancient books. Seemingly overnight, hundreds of people all over the continent were stricken. Then thousands. All those who catch it lose their eyesight. Then their blood becomes black and thick.
It is,
They have to be locked up because they go mad and become violent. And then they die. In some cities,
It is basically
entire
a curse.
neighborhoods have been deserted, with the doors boarded up from the outside. Everyone has lost at least one relative. We must find a cure, or our civilizations will disappear.
Yeah, like I said, it is it is a magical malady. It is not simply mundane. It's not just a disease. there's magic behind it. But I assume this game is also going to get into that a little bit as well.
What brought you to Teofradi?
It is a long story. For a time, I was no more than an armchair scientist.
Same.
That's what
same.
we call naturalists and cartographers, whose work is based solely on the accounts of other people. I read travel memoirs written by others, and studied plants brought back from other people's travels, without ever leaving the comfort of my university. I had more adventurous friends who ventured across the seas and traveled through enemy lands to bring home knowledge. But I found it inessential. I thought they were taking nonsensical and unnecessary risks.
And
With
then-
age, I've come to the realization that I've made some terrible mistakes by relying solely on other people's experiences. So when I heard
Yeah.
about Teofradi, this famous promised land, I wanted to see it for myself.
Did you say there were other people on your island?
Yes, there are actually other nations, in fact. I think I've already told you that we don't come from an island, but a continent, a vast land. Teleme is located to the west. You may have come across missionaries from this country. They have also settled on Teofradi. They believe in religion and magic, and want to convert the world to their narrow vision of things. I must admit
based.
that they have remarkable architecture,
Extra based.
but we've been at war with them for over 3 centuries.
Nothing wrong with
To the
that.
south is the Merchant Congregation, a league of city-states whose power lies in their talent for trade.
They're cool.
They are
with
skillful
them.
diplomats and have made their neutrality an undeniable strength. They too have recently settled on your island. If you see elegant dandies dressed in silk who want to trade you something, you're definitely dealing with someone from the congregation. The Dutan Empire is situated between Teleme and our alliance. It is a huge land, and we are also at war with them. Their country is being torn apart by civil war, which is most likely the reason they haven't attempted to settle here yet. Finally, the free cities are in the very middle. They are a relatively young nation, perched high in the mountains. They have just won their independence from the Empire. Most of the mercenaries in the Coin Guard come from this country.
Yeah. So the Coin Guard is an old faction. You didn't mention the Naughts, who are essentially the Sailors Guild, which is interesting. I thought that they would come up. But the Empire and the Free Cities are both new factions, new to this game. Those were never mentioned in the previous game. And presumably, the reason being, the in-lore reason being, that they never settled here. They never settled on Teofradi. The previous player characters from the Merchants, the Merchants Alliance, or wait, Merchants Congregation of Merchants. That's it. Which is also a pretty base faction. I'm a bit of a partisan. I kind of hate the Bridge Alliance and greatly favor the Congregation of Merchants and to some degree Teleme. Because Teleme does have some of the violent excesses that are, associated by modern people with early modern religion. Let's say there's that. Again, I'm sure we'll see plenty of it. But then also the Merchants Congregation is neutral, as he said, and therefore largely peaceful, and is both peaceful and powerful because they rely on trade and commerce, which is just beautiful, really. It's a way of maintaining peace without the sword, and it's actually quite realistic in that sense. Now, the only downside to the Merchants Congregation is they are somewhat mercantilist, and also they can get a little bit bureaucratic. Those are really the weaknesses of the Merchants Congregation, or at least the ethical weaknesses. But they tend to be, I would say, the best of the factions. You're probably supposed to like the Bridge Alliance, I think, I would say. But no. I'll say especially because there are some Bridge Alliance characters that are basically mad scientists that are running overly controlling human experiments and things like that. and I happened to play this game during lockdowns, so there's that. It reminded me a bunch of the Fauci types. So, yeah. All right, let's.
Did you say there were...
Oh,
Yes. There are actually other Teleme.
okay, we got it. All right, that's it. What we got?
I should go now.
Thanks for the talk.
Yes. I wouldn't want Minan to regret letting me stay here. Come and see me again when you can.
Okay. Also. Oh, what? Oh. Oh. Oh, yeah, no, this is very... interesting. Yeah, this controls really differently than the previous game.
Hesvir, saksient buitsam. Tegeten konkubar groa gaberag da roibe.
Oh. Wasp bracelets. That's Toke. Sure. Huh. This is my house, right? I hope I'm not just raiding one of the villagers' houses.
Es maragvarem der glendi masient der hechredach kengedamdag. Karadem es karmag volken noigdag.
I also don't know how to draw a weapon if that becomes necessary, but maybe it won't become necessary yet.
Kahe sitinem ansianawi, adregt kongobar oleg avarak, ane hamstram. Lund en ole yigsi. Es ankan samel varni da sone gada nui.
It's interesting that they translate all of the terms. It didn't used to do that. The previous game, there were technical terms like Donaigad that were not translated, even when the natives were speaking Tirfredian. It was just kept as Donaigad rather than Sage. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess it does actually kind of make sense that it would. Okay. But it does make some sense that it would remain, that it would actually translate because it's, oh jeez, it's our native language, right? So we would understand the nuances of the terms in a way that, you know, a foreigner, a Renaigsa wouldn't. Renaigsa is basically the word for foreigner, but from outside the island, basically.
Avatir. Klaus es trag me mak rechtit to. Sag ech reda mach donegad. Es me donea sich. Sient gusset ma garantamen. Nu tegedach namada elu e mali.
Ja, ja. Samel naida de esredach asideon quest. Sagment request?
Radit quam de medadem. Esco ir gene.
Okay, that's a decent way of doing expedition.
Crechi bervagomenko. Sagnamen dem vrex fos meonem de. Noden mavin nundanem. Our hangum called biole laugum. Echte ekanta bed koas. Bo verem mandeurtag. Metnig. Salgaig kelgard vegan. Bo fasis rale casina bo esgeta cloda quayam emberdende. Gente e vigi clos quadradide helgan. Ato kiden en misedent. But flana varem da rabindo da radidore ketiquat samel fregt. Sag. Budvelda nui di vederi.
Okay, sorry.
Estrag me.
Just, being... I guess it makes sense to be looking backwards, nostalgic. The day before, basically, the rite of passage.
Esto kengedame vigi. Quedes eslondem dad?
Dam? Na mara gansa vegem. Fragbo balg, mi diveru linmene kengedemen. Buidrana sevogolagamene korai. Desea esoleg arolam da harawigi e vakaramen. Desea exregent. Sag au. Au ad komfrangt te dade talemem. Frichtigd ole sakuvai. Mamens da dugie hanema me kengedemen. Es velem forvershed dat a garantam shedamno.
Let me scoot myself over a little. So not blocking subtitles. Oh, yeah, so I noticed as well, I don't know if you can see it, right up there. He has that mark right on his the side of his chin. That seems to, I think that indicates that he is an Onol Manawi, or whatever that means. Which I'm sure we'll probably find out what that means. But, it's essentially someone who is dedicated to the land. Magically dedicated and bound to the land. And again, something that I assume will have to come up at some point. We'll see.
Olaune gemem kadid Amsterdam ka organem baroida. Nas me unsem sien der renoixe beru questa dag dani?
Questa dag? Na. Franged samel fedu kana gaigi vroigi. Atusi dendara no orleides. Kobenend quena? Nuidende lerg abamen? Qualende talemem et tragend e orregach. Es kommen canivadum begabova hifales. Quenied austing da vint hadre babunag.
Aneneniedem edeni?
Ja. Bo enidem alen quened enverdem da degedach. Tadara me de hello e lochsenam va hi wenshema. Sadiu esreg e ovunag agis vogo laige de gom widegach. Tegedachi edani. Ox holai gwesa. Budrode em gasio dend ma gomon. Amen sa forkan renoma nama rentais. Demen frichtum. Clautier sa ole renoigsa.
Qua aulam seg avatir.
Qua awalem seg? Buislantu?
Let's see.
Sela heda, vor kento flan sabrichtom nuidom.
Nasmewinem vorken sindad da arsisau da garantamen. Na frichti korte sonegad.
Smein em fravind, velolto, et ja es cor da sonegad. Ariden ger, esto es sa.
Diwa daralwi samel sin aniloin. Tegets dailu mali minen kasin.
Ja. Es dugement radidau de heded madia taureb nei soglendi.
Fravins em frank de dierna an hevigem. Butech ach, mavridan deolt nes sed mat. Smeuin quisem se cavinanem samel nes diernam toflanem.
Esto ugesin, em navregen komarosi dwint. Tegedem. Airag oleg moi feshe maro enena.
Journal, huh? Deny God's initiation. Meet with Minon. Minoin, I guess. Mother has informed me that Minoin, our lower leader, wishes to meet with you to discuss your initiation. Okie dokie. We'll go around these two.
Estrahan versagto. Radidendam sachend yagam da windluchton.
Kair? Adadordam se yagases radai de ragach. Naistalemi, a conveni e frasi? Es radador naik se yam linguides beyen mished daen?
Ja esa radida no kombenda quena sequena. Voken quis a yechtam da jungari vigi.
Das echter me en voglend neis junga de la renoixa. Sag broig de neis luchton ja is ten. Qui fravind ma berden varsa tenyasim miklodaik dequils.
Madit danida vuxanti, adier, naval, adier, nahar, oradida der mens velude is.
Es dechem da gom frangide da dierna. Es menilanem, agesines fridenem ger. Es nie voglendaiga.
Nilan. Es dechem dam kasin. Es meshedam. Voglinde kaishedan.
Friden ger. Es les anumam, muy crimodorig, frichtig, credo, anilain, e voglendaik. Sago es esa. Si arula mai aidam. Atusidame saradido, evarach, avinain. Confrangdis. Mi aniru se maledi. Quanto rebadari malarededao a Yoenga.
Estrag mem closted saradida. Na mem eve mear mantiam sam pisur oixa.
Sage sam. Rense danie dechem faruedi, daher kamem far voglendi. Voglendis desases redis ediaes radei emesto. Kiden donegada shantamen lag obledenen. Es radei em adraig quahi luchton ten. Nasordis da doiga araigidem.
That might be Malachor.
Oleg loan de farwe
veiny
duis
look.
a magenta.
Qua avolem sega doflein. Quae dem fleidas tartusudi.
Then again, I didn't think the natives were susceptible to it.
Esca oversheda asonea yoam.
I didn't think the natives were susceptible to Malachor.
Quid fravins mador que hediernam havail?
Fravindel samel si gusudue. Arole sonegada ahneseis samel etienem hach gedactas. Es crimo derek seiva now ka ehenisam. Es mare sevis ag find enomio fictaman ad ranon. Moiolole hoila. Marca seviem si es na fravind marag nama emsede vixar hirem. Sageras de enclostedas. O sie hade segama va heleg suisi.
There, so I think this is a different Tiamna Hakadaktas, or High Chieftain of Great Knowledge, or whatever it is exactly. Because again, the old game used the native terms for these things and didn't keep them translated. Like the native characters gave you descriptions of what they meant, but it wasn't translated in the subtitles like this. So phrases like Tiana Hakadaktas or Renoigsa, they kind of stick in my memory because of that. This Mev or Mevin is not the same one that we see a few years hence. So I think we could assume something happens to her. Either that or this is just a very transient title.
Manas tanguas rid. Quae vred radi descavevam.
Samo radi duquis. Nacoidem emanteam samada cavernoxa. Lientara orgi, neis henesem. A contagidem es anaogi maragdent. Sagnaole. Quedem es quinda agenta eleis rog. Care de siendo avenemen ugemendo. Ages abimelam vas, andevarsem, emenoixio voglendi en michedni. Frogus moinem vedere.
Ja es furcan carantam. En vaiert decadide amice.
Caranta means more than friend, if I recall.
Vorken dada dovarlegu und comfarueda. Na smeu in emesfir da vregus in da sonegat.
Vorkent dan da duvarregu es vir. As me uin emes fuladem buda ad abarrag da nees luchton.
Ad Loreto, crimo derit ma vanteama, na linquiden don e drog beesa.
Quet bud e dead madiam bud radai dale dach?
Na fravinden ovegem, es runam donegadi, sag voglendade, ed an denachtem, lawa, sed me van atoflanem, anon dagam qual sheid, em fledade. Ech red neis sonegad sen, ages olod moi, primoderega gam de hen on miu frictimen, tege dad ni mag. Ages radei de gedo, donegademan, da halinia rino.
O'Neill Frichteman, the Moon of a Thousand Faces, is essentially their nature god. And again, is rather significant to the plot of the first game. So I won't go into it too very much. But we'll see if it actually comes up more in this one, or if it's just going to be a bit of lore drop. Gosh, the textures loading in is a little distracting. Gosh, okay.
Esamemem com frange medierna.
Farea disa diuem disima. Encar sed, e corei cam davani legiside, ad echte gledan.
Alochedar, avoel. Vregame suleida hadesia quel shede menevigi.
Okay. Machida. Okay.
Es anken vardo da maored.
Navuxand tu rada doigi nadach nilaniame.
Na, ka gweno dachtam. Ama linquiodum tegedach ded nama. Es picnic dorme am siar requestis. Kasid nilan erenoixa co se und flengu varent an ekiden vegem kados.
Hoi, es voladem aruigam. Sag fravin quod an nadachtem sies.
Es dorme ded. Sag es anken var he koreem da sonegada nui. Nasiens tegedach en fonteram em krecht judwe.
It is a little... It is a little modern, let's say. That there seems to be a tendency, at least among the natives, excuse me, for warriors to be women, which is odd and atypical for especially technologically unsophisticated natives. And I would especially think for technologically unsophisticated natives with access to magic, because the physically weaker women would, if they are to be warriors, would be far more, would gravitate naturally, I would think, to more towards magic than to arms. But that doesn't seem to be what we're seeing. It's a little odd.
Es ad hagus nilana tu. Es requesentri?
Siencem teget quelsach, frag da hadesi.
Nas ankenam. En veir to anilain. Samel bradirem jauankach mikenes. Neuda moi.
Ah, rex mahanemam.
Abaundad. Fravinzed. Agis da kenne, na?
Quel shed em naut anken vardu, da regu queseis samel.
Me casin. Sagkad es velem arulamaid.
Okay, that is all.
Ratidam es adevan everach.
Kagwenadachtam. Es me antadabem, Oleg.
Tracker's patchwork, huh? Cool, cool. Yeah, the controls are wildly different. So it like I said, it does certainly seem to be a lot more tactical, because you can't see it, but there's a cursor. And I have to hold right click to move the camera. But as far as I can tell, that's the only way to move the camera. Is it? No. That's... Oh, no, okay, I see. C is a menu. That is What is that? Donegat Apprentice's saber. It has like a shell guard. It has like loops. Huh. Alt for tracking. Oh, that. Okay, yeah, right. Eagle Eye. Gotcha. Okay, well, look, I'm looking for interactables. What party? Autonomous party. Ooh. Alright, what about Nilon?
Quet men Saridengar. Es anken
Short routes.
Harlam de Sonegat vir.
What did we didn't get?
Quai galos meo leg vriden am ger.
Faret es to samel sin. Nas to samel quen de jam kladen de vriden an duben an etalemem.
Interesting.
Es to samel saloban. Jam to klade vintan lau. Sista hawel de hetira renoixamen nama began, a goita kene.
I see.
Radits quam cavenegem nas cor qued vreg de donegam. Quai? Quod vel saurigem?
Es rade em vogel donegat vir, nes luchtos, nes vis, en on nes enes, nes gorei, a nes luchtos. Na en on renoixamen. Linquita visagach da oglendi den. Sacto combers e forgrimodrem dent ja teugen de hetabe maile mares, samel ma es dage. An mendu en berent es anama en orgi agedit.
Interesting. I will say it's also interesting. God, the language is really cool. Because the more I listen to it, the more I do think it sounds like Old English, or maybe we're having some very Anglo-Saxon influence. And again, maybe not entirely. I'm fairly certain it's not just straightforward Anglo-Saxon or anything like that. But it certainly does seem to have some significant influence therefrom. All right, well let's go over yonder, shall we? Excuse me, lizard. Fisherman. I'm also going to assume that these companions are only going to be relatively short-term. Because my assumption is that we, the main character, are about to be, at some point relatively shortly, going to be taken to the old world, to the continent. And maybe at some point we are going to be trying to find these two, or something like that. Or they're just chapter 1. Yeah, we'll go over there, but first... The stones with holes in them are very cool. They're a very neat aesthetic. But also, if you know where those come from, aesthetically speaking, it's weird. Like, it doesn't fit. Because stones with holes in them like that, if I'm not mistaken, were typically anchors. Like ship anchors. And these are very clearly not that. But that's why they were found, that's why they were so archaeologically common. Because they were ship anchors. And so you need to make the heck out of those. Make a bunch of them. That's interesting. Oh, lower armor. Disguises. Okay. Yeah, that's my secondary. Why not? Maybe she can wear this? Well, that's worse for her. Never mind. Maybe he can wear this. Yeah. Yeah, why not? There we go. Oh, he's a bow. He's an archer. I see. No points available. Talents. Stats. All right. Okay, cool. I might make the hats not visible. I thought they were really cool.
Estogem radid minan. Disam gaidam en lamen e kamferta voglendi.
Ja, adierna.
Velmu kagiden kodnade to seis. Nameundum anueri tortesia marauto.
Action points. Basic attack is only free attack skill to use to fill your gauge. Use it to fill your gauge, which will generate action points used to utilize skills. Okay. Those are these. Here. Get a 5. Use it on an active auto attack target and your character will automatically continue. Okay. Oh, T switches weapons. I get it. Okay. All right. Knock down or throw your enemy. Use scourges. Use favors. All right, I have no scourges, but I have favors and knockdowns. Okay. Okay. Area effects. In groups. That didn't help much. Okay. Yeah, this is reminding me a lot more of Dragon Age Origins. Shields represent the total value of armor. Damage is reduced when using a shield. Magical damage isn't reduced. Weapons of war and certain skills may break shields. Okay. Magical deflection. That works the same, but for armor. Okay, very cool. Got him, boss. All right. Two companions. You have manage a team. Okay. She is a warrior. She has attack power, but can also take a lot of damage. Send her into the thick of the action. Okay. Delon is a Deny God apprentice and archer. He has little stamina, but is fast and accurate. Okay. Support your allies with rapid ranged attacks. Heal the party with his medical supplies. Okay. You can control them completely in real time, but tactical control will allow you to take a break to take your time, observe the whole battlefield, consult the state of your enemies, consult combat log. How do I enter tactical control? Okay, there it is. Pause. Okay. Okay, so yeah, it's real time with pause. Gotcha. Oh, I see. so I need to... Oh. Alright, that's fine. Nilon. That didn't work. All right, everybody. All right, focus her. And I will heal him. Heal Nilon. And go back to killing this guy. And Shida can go break the mage. Mage needs to go down. Oh, I need to move her first. More heal. Need more healing. There we go. Sweet. Okay, yeah, no, this is very Dragon Age Origins combat.
Tomad. Na vregt for sumunem dorkenium da argumedau. Suisius radeus galda nadach, kagaishedon en vlaman. Ami frogu. Estradeus nama relusem da huisradachtam. Dayam vregames dulanem no. Quedes donegada.
Estonea? Ja diglenend ag amkerdend
I mean, they're both really.
duer aregorium.
I assume I'm going to be yelled at.
Sa
And much more, okay.
moy.
Well, there we go.
Navreg dis fors muenem oleg de karansersen. Jamen nistanes der. Monesained nees wisvarnes luchtomanes direm. Eskairen jam vogelade. De me vrangemesin. Klos du kiedon tiri. Avel du koldi lagachtas re antamen lag. Lemat adnoedam dau torten dis. Esrade amaroigade etenaisem de jam quent suis reena. Aragdis ebunedem ayagam. Estortem al jam adnoedam dam fisquis direm. En enegosom siteneg. Sadiu estu vlerta viadidau ad luchtos. Asciende bivedemen. Algadis en alboi siendawi. Milemen aberdisa biem varhas.
En velne dendere renoixa kaha ole de kad.
Klos dis me radidau kahuis valem. Vregdis suis vantem sies. Fravind ma his kenne.
Jo, sag ma elvelnedender. Quodes radeem vregar?
Boot radaiem for huelmes kassem farved folat. Reum den contortam neis luchtom.
Es fran de gadaktam voquel aridenger. Mad. Tegadis noa gadregdis quantorebander satorten.
Okay. All right. Cool. So we have quests. A dying forest, a new evil. Deny God's initiation. It's basically just do these two quests. Okay, inventory, stuff, things, goods, party. All right, I can level up. How? Oh, this is how. Okay, cool. So I have 2 points. Oh. Okay, so I have access to all of these. All right, words of support applies power. First aid, heal. That might be useful. And that costs just 1, right? And then, what about these? I have all of these, right? I don't have these, do I? Physical damage reduction. Okay, that's pretty good. Cutting. Interrupt. Oh, I see. So that unlocks each 4 of these. Gotcha. Saber, longsword, two-handed longsword, or sword. Right, this is the one I have, because I have a saber. Alright, Killing Touch. Upgrade applies bleeding if the target has no shields. That's pretty good. Ignores damage reduction. Charges. Inflicts heavy damage. Applies intangibility. That's actually quite cool. That's quite cool. These are both pretty cool. I don't know. I could just get both of them. Looks damage that ignores an enemy's physical damage. Oh, that's why. Uses 1 skill point. Okay, cool. Returns 1 action point at the time. That's not bad. But I'm gonna use. I'm gonna get first aid. It's also useful. Okay. Shida. Oh, I see. She has weapons of war, passive protection, and her own thing. Where's leap? Ignores the damage sustained during a backward jump. What? Ignores the damage sustained. Interesting. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that'll do. Taunt. Let's get taunt. And then... What the hell is a backward jump? Immunizes against weakness. It's not bad, but... Yeah, let's increase armor. Make her into a nice tank. Okay, his. Healing wave. Yeah, let's do that. Applies power when Vreed and Gare lands a fatal blow. Okay, wow, that's okay. I dig that. Protective healing. 25% of the caster allies magical deflection when they are afflicted by a healing spell. That's kind of cool. But let's see. Coated arrow. Poison or burn. Double arrow. Should I do... I think sibling rivalry is funny. Let's go for it. Alright, attributes. I have 3 points available. So let's go... Agility? Sword or saber, daggers or knives. Increases damage. Dodge chance, resistance to immobilization, resistance to burn, affinity to intangibility. Okay, cool. Strength. Critical damage, resistance to weakness, affinity to power. Okay, perception. Rifle, bow, traps, pistols. Will. Focus. Alright, if I increase that by 1, that'll mean my action points go up by 1. Endurance is not bad, but I think I'm going to go with agility. Confirm. Talents. Okay. Craftsmanship. Survival. Diplomacy. Mechanisms. Stealth. I can't take any of these, can I? Oh, wait, I can. Okay, so I already have survival and mechanisms. Interesting, okay. Unlocks new recipes. Tracking reveals rudimentary traps. Okay. Craftsmanship. Might be useful. Will be useful. Diplomacy will... Yeah, oh wait, no, I need diplomacy, don't I? I'm the main character, I need diplomacy. Yeah. Right, what about you guys? What about attributes? Alright, let's make Strong Girl strong, shall we? But let's also make her bull. Big strong tank. Big strong tank. You. Perception and... Will? Let's go focus. Alright. Ooh, we got capes. Oh, that gives us craftsmanship or mechanism. Let's take mechanisms for right now. We don't need craftsmanship in the moment. But I have it in our back pocket. That's good. Alright, cool.
Es esam in amada lung a vogel duis. Peniet mendet ho sidi.
Alright, so... I need to talk to a few people about our coming quests. Actually, hold on. How do I save? I need to actually make a save. Yeah, here we go. I have yet to save. Ooh, there's photo mode. Ooh. Wow. That really needs to load in, though. Anyway.
Bear tir tomada senit.
Bir tir tomad. Is a kenam do ready dani?
Radis mev.
Do the quest stuff.
Dier na har kadachtas. Dani em siende e biende edom. Em nas sitten.
Na fravin quod voglen sed. Sages vir sevo quel. O aginim qua salem fricte de bien sienda o de dedon. Da barba dam da veru dar neuda par hassadi uirfer. Vol crecti dao. Anamali keni anamar vila jam ludum seg.
Oh.
Perende kom farweda kanai dirbar.
Traneut quid betrichs wind grechan da ana bali. Samel sin echter idee dent kvies.
Escolda regus a nama vetrechan erenoixe. Orgent, arenen da holeia esament. Estaugem toig dent kavila ola ledi. Samel sakon, ja esen ole heniedem vedem no.
Burufara cretin da rego arcon. Sag sienten farberu betrechem en ail. Anasto vidao a milementen, barig. Mende magalea quinak dactam. Adreg den quaha vedon ane arm.
Anna adregende reduven. Na brogde dwint.
Es el grendum frume de esa heda. Mas betraken barig. Es volla takadeti diuen men fraga raigident.
Sie und mes tegedacht already. Es vola dem oirag dent rei quest kenne.
Puslan suis lerg.
Okay.
Mamendum de hairagi kongubari agen eilimen. Es radeem tegedem de wind sunuset.
Big area. Okay, not bad, not bad. Vigeshvar. Alright, what about our other quest? New Evil. Let's do that first before we leave town. The current village Donagad.
Adiarn to floin.
Odier.
Es oleg loen me da elo duis sarenta. Quetient vregu da oredi duis.
Au es redam es macht donegada an nees hielam. Siens radidau qui quod velse regem donegadi.
Es faversche dag. Fared veld olaun deis quesa kahan. Es ni en aginon senegusir. Sineis seneseis ag arrigo aria arigd e luchtum e maris. Farn de luiam vreg dahen on mil frichtimen suis. Ag eralam de vrego neis hadas. Sag, mendnika hadveri kasan daha henesem. Adase henenai doiga. Lemat es nio lei en on e vergome doiga e suis ol fuidi. Igoiga a vogeloiga neis heneseis a neis luchtos. Sag oxolei es ni signamender. Quan quenst neis dier quensum, que den neis evelem a neis animam. A quan exredem sen actionidem cahir cahisadem et talemi. Adesm e garmam de hen on mil frichtimen. Ag abertidum nisais doid, da nadach doid da holeg.
Okay, so seems a little demonic if you ask me, but if you'd rather think of it in terms of a more neutral, powerful nature spirit, Okay, we could do that, but it is a sort of exchange. The gift of magic, of magical power for people in general, not just to the specific Donegada, but magic to all the Tirfredians. In exchange for some of them sacrificing themselves, essentially, body, mind, and soul, to this one of 1,000 faces. Excuse me. To eternally bind themselves to the spirit of this land. It is a kind of... It's a sort of Faustian bargain, though with a less selfish end in mind, at least. It's fascinating, really. And it was, again, involved significantly in the plot of the first game, but I don't want to go into the details of how, mostly because it's not relevant to this, but it is an interesting spiritual exchange, if you will. One which is almost certainly at least idolatrous and possibly a kind of self-damnation, if you will. But let's see, what about this god?
Quota Gwenidal en on mil frichtimen. For varset forkan dame dium oil maes deum.
Na fravin quedes deum da herenoixa. Sag es duron ques. Nas reda Gwenidao en on mil frichtimen. Es eden olai henesem. Sei hanemam. Sag es casin. Olaun Gwen. Olaun rodanem. Agolaun alem ol skylidi varse. Es eden olaun deis. An mendu as extrag ed dani. Nasferem neubenam. Es enolai grimoderem betus. Es onamil. Es ed o es ehenes. Aquel shade embud ed da holeg samelse.
Very animist, sort of, but also locally pantheistic. And it's one of 1,000 faces is very clearly a local deity, but it's a kind of pantheistic local deity, which is an interesting take. I do think that does track with some Native American beliefs, or less so with a lot of the theologies of other places. Historically speaking, at least. Real world, historically speaking.
Radides de hegarmam de henon mil frichtimen. Closet?
Es cantal jam closend olei sonigada wint holei wiem. De he hamsteram quan menend daid. Anitusam es nama gantel en mednechti. Samel matiram ja gaida sosantam serantis da oglendi da gengo. Desa godom rem neis grimodere. A neis gadachtam quan es ankenam dani. Sag quan exredem sen samel me. Exred se cantal an enbrichtawi garmam. Ad galud casinde qued to gomberdem, da vuied en anumam nais luchtos. Tu soit si. Na querd sa cantel, imned neu ad mebelam. Beedu biem anduchta gasir en mished nais goraem. Ages loen mi da linquid mach dem siesta neis henesem. Que fravind, es fola dem bud me ja toigdam da vunindau. E menawi desaya bod suis oglendoiga.
Quetiens radidau quide, heded madiam vregames ja hexredach donegada.
Oriden ger. Provincem es runam. Oroigames quan teget da hamster.
Nas cam Milan. Esoleiam sient radidao, emes noidam da remo ovunus varsi. Nas ded mad contortag, natagei dad en fontera. Es inama ques puisig emes arulam, si da hex redach donigada. Mendi cair ex redach, vergoime doigamen, vogeloigamen, acadamen. Agem es arulam sida menau, casa enesem, a close ganteli.
I have to wonder if the veins are an artifact of his being a Deny God, or if that is the Malachor. Because I, first of all, didn't think that Tirfredians were susceptible to the Malachor, and I certainly didn't think Donagada were susceptible to the Malachor. So it may just be a sort of late-stage manifestation of being a Deny God, because, the roots and such growing from his head, that's really common. That is common to the previous game as well. But I don't think I've ever seen the dark veins like that.
De daurebi neis voglendi, forvarshete dier nahar, da hoyoragi ebuna dem etenia
He has such
si de
piercing green
quens de
eyes.
vegan. Fravenduem nakanta ved redeis mad, sagna fravendem marag moe. Eska tenia semnui?
Ja, navailo legs a confarweda frag. Toik dis. Bokiden morden, da gantabe dis a morkedi. Sadiu esad glad. Es vel da linquidau de vregu vasi. Esten slana. Masuchtir. A se venunt hanem morigan. Ages esa ent aurai dion.
Beort dir simad alana agad vurgan. Est fragmeda oglendi dead. Natugdu en quenste des ateniasem.
Wert tir simad arenta.
Brian?
Forir esa glad modern. Es reidiuan anau siend kengu. Arvred vasem hesapis he vogel neis sonegadi.
Na fravindu em toiugs velu de sadiu, adoid.
Na sienta yigi de. Sag sienta na begen en edi sege a vogeldi de.
Forir. Es ovun. Varem em frangen der oila
It is
an
loss of
evigem
balance.
casin. Farent tu sendrei donea da vuied an quonam maderca haglidon queni a coldi cotrumachtas casin.
Okay, so first of all, Elephant in the Room got a note. Lesbianism, but especially marriage, is completely alien to the setting. It does not make sense in a setting like this. In a tribal setting at all, it makes absolutely no sense. Now, if you're going to do something like an acceptability of extramarital homosexual activity or something like that, that might be plausible. There might be some kind of there may be some historical precedence for that sort of thing. But sterile marriages make no sense in a tribal context. None. Besides, I don't think that this civilization has quite that level of decadence. At least I don't think. Unless maybe that's why they're being afflicted by a mystery disease. That's possible too.
Quan tusiden suis hagledon queni?
Tausid kaval. Radiodum rademfrag. Sagane tausum bonama. Han sademin. Sag echred namames. Esko hovon varem. Da elu mordeni ensa kom lorgem.
Bud vel ma vrektem requis mader keid mach. Sag nas me und membo requis antrum.
Smiund moden casin. En bonama rara jabad varnen ab. Smoinem exre de loxen kroons revegen. A klostu agunas da hei kiden vegen.
So it's It's not too sudden. It's very gradual.
Lenganem ane darknet?
Farnas de herre Nykse?
Nej, ved morden blaganon. Anna tog om where to leg by dem de haven noiksa. Es namere fishen jam bed va. Agetorede nad jam bed sina va hasen radam.
Fravind madeloban jigas, agenonja marad. Asande e fleganon. Forken madad med da hadni nodaudent.
Nalied toda nemi daudeis. Alana me minundanem. Sakes rade emsmiunend da holle aladachtan. Samel modenem na esem sitena bigneg. Veish toreda fridenan. Aka goradachtan nayuda da herenoixa.
Nuidet suis vansen. Fis noi ochs quantusite tagant habedite.
Maybe if you did eat more game, it might be helpful, but...
Es bledenem disaunit kahe saulem. Dare mau brosanamen an sed henab. Ane quendredem da veruva rimachamen. Anis feshid an enidem sang. Ag andreg da verue brosnan. Ane diuid e diui.
Es kunjat confrang se carnad. Ever digle na halobomen ja es ankanam de medade massi.
Pravind mad en enyo don fishe dahi modeni. Tegen casin en jaquen rendem. Tegedesim casinamon.
Es follad emes reques essin ja quert sateniasem?
Maya sinanes quae nas ten me casin.
Es fola dem oi ragames et mategedemesin. Adlo red sida suisured. Fregarmes e veliam sientam da haioragi jageskaden.
Adlor headway C3.
Eshrei da de nilan atodan e gada.
I feel like these two quests are somewhat linked. Maybe maybe it has something to do with like a rabid animal or something like that.
Qua awalam sega dier.
Quan berda de hawalem var hasarenta.
The same thing afflicting the beasts of the forest is afflicting these people or something like that. I don't know. What is that? The Jasta. That adds magical deflection. Eh. Oh, that's the door. Right. Wrong place. Alright, let's see. Okay, so fishing spot. We have to go out this way, I think. The other quest is down this way, so they're in kind of opposite directions. Alright, well, let's... Oops. Either way, I think I've got to go across here. This way to get out of the village. What's that?
Donegada neuna, es entma garantan oxole. Na linquidam on questiarutwint.
Oh wait, no, let's not rest. Fast travel? Nah, there are no other fast travel spots, so no. Compass and local map. Yeah, I know. Far away. He killed local map. Yep. Yeah. So, this is our crossroads. Which one do we want to do first? We'll probably only have time for one of these tonight. If I had to guess. Landmark, huh? You can examine the fishing spot or find the clan hunters. Let's go to the fishing spot first, shall we?
Vregde die jerne haar, dech maar dat kagam frangi de tao glendi.
Ja, es macht uns was mehr. Es ist gut.
Uh-oh. Hostile enemies, huh?
Donde henon mil frichtimen se on mishet he luchtom. Es voladem fletse da regu velugleo ariden, gar? Agvregu fors meunem de ta garantan renaik sadat.
Es wel de orhel de varadi sa betrechen en wacht. Vreg den ochsim evenas ent toigag.
Na
I mean, it wants me to sneak
Es ka
past,
ir neimam sa renaiksa.
but I could just fight it. Well, let's go to the landmark first, shall we? Fire ants. Cool. Cool. That's an obscenely large anthill, but okay. Is that, or... Okay, hold on. I have a question. How big do anthills get in Europe? Because between this and Kingdom Come Deliverance, I've been seeing games with anthills that are obscenely large by my even Floridian standards. Right? In Florida, anthills get maybe this big, probably like that tall. Maybe. At absolute most. Absolute most. That's as big as they get. Or there are places in the world where anthills get substantially larger. Oh hey, there's the Ridge Alliance Fort. I see. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that's it's quite the... built-up settlement, ain't it? Look at that. It's such an eclectic mix of architecture too. Like this one, the one right where I'm looking at right there. That is that's very early American colonial kind of thing, whereas this down here, that's like almost Middle Eastern. I mean, that's cool. It's quite cool. Mushroom. Or Ditrod. What's this? Dragon's blood. Welcome back, Imson. Can you tell me whether this is insane? That anthills can be that big? Because like I said, where I'm at, sure, we have fire ants and stuff, and they're annoying as hell, but like, their hills are that high at most. That was something that I noticed about Kingdom Come Deliverance as well, that anthills were like 3 feet tall. That seems insane to me.
Seldis. Escrefeme sin. Question.
Enselmu ed de akosach.
Body. It's Bridge Alliance. I haven't been to South Carolina. Not much. Not for long. I've passed through.
Quid vregt saveressa.
Es voladem redo. Inquidis me selawakosach. Es lewolanon ya krechti dende. Now kagaishidon. Es du gemara duer angiden
Llewellyn's, is that the big lizard things?
Smeonsem tegedo quaheden?
Na fravind. Es volad. Visst varton kom samel dassa forkani.
Ako gvinoi dochta, mein das da gom frangi kikachod, da overshedi da.
Meint nama fravindau qued vrecto saver essa que esei. Akasin delegt bedem.
Mad.
That's quite civilized of you.
Kamaros. Es reques ene arton. Es batem snoiselenos. Frichte dat sen. Everoid muda ravindau moi mader kasse snoiselenam. Es reques aridai kasse.
Es komsamer kagwes ne sluchtos. Sognas dagam ne skorei. Budak da hersiena da se da het jernam hach.
Budak da heloam. Es volad em tranhect seluan oil ja voreud ni dadugi quebuei.
Okay, so yeah, he's a Bridge Alliance guy. Was killed by local wildlife. Is that weird? That's not that weird, right?
Look, Vridengar, the ground is sunken there. Someone must have buried something. We need something we can dig with.
What can we dig with? Copper. Okay. Stickers are more expensive than coloring books. Jeez. Why?
Look, Vridengar, the ground is sunken there. Someone must have buried something. We need something we can dig with.
Okay, but what? What? Huh. We're, This... I don't think I want to go drop down there, do I? Blame Trump. I mean, yeah. Yeah, in large part. It's not gonna let me drop down there. There is something to dig with. Yeah, to your previous note, yes, Florida is basically the Australia of the United States. Yeah, everything is, all wildlife is monstrous and wants to kill you, but also, look at this, see this? This is supposed to be an anthill. That's an anthill? They're not that big, are they? Anywhere? Are there really places where anthills get that big, or even close to it?
Equenrent. Es queniet feshident morigan am amorden en kachnat.
Es virto. Es rade de hachuam. Velumasiente moi ragi ded javr.
Tracking and survival. Identify clues. Requires a survival roll. Reveal the path to part of the path to follow. Red successful. You'll have to search the area yourself. Oh no.
Ten. Sa olay eshon maru.
Quet pudenat poi samel galansegi.
Oh.
Fravin da holay.
What in the world killed all? What's this?
Sfrichtom im shade request ne urei doneesa.
Request.
In Sweden, they can bigger than that. That's horrifying.
lewolanem. Esat grimoderik sabetrechan. Ami frugu vrekt request eten.
Samel nais garantanan in vigem.
Estauk. Everait mu do hoiragis.
Oh, I see where this is going. It's the fish, because I'm guessing the Bridge Alliance has done something to poison the water or something, poison the river. That's my best guess.
Trail goes this way.
Oh. Do a survival check.
I see trucks over here.
Good. Anyway, so to your other point, Sim says, on the same note, the feud between DC and the Holy See continues. Vance said 2 days ago that the Pope should be careful when discussing theology, referring to just war theory. I think his bishop should give him a talking to. Yeah.
Maum kairem vorhelm maradi samilimen. Es anemam nes heneses en kasim.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Cool lizards. Let's go this way. Ooh. Dead one.
Quetsient maradi de. Es crimoderik sa betrechen. Na abalen samelsa.
Frichted ul tladai go Amsterdam sir. Esa danai. Amaxels quadiam sheid fragabali. Siens velu ambia dit kaeshem.
Kaeshem. Samel nes e shaigaten. Budeya nemiut nes garantan.
Es ovan varm ked.
Seems like it.
Ka ul rimidach ever velu leisa feshemen maru var heglendam.
Mo nemi den der fashion. Lema tenap kasim. Na sienten linquidau abalinis luchtos same salewolanem. Esra deem diwed met.
Ma serchen fredes rot airagum e venam e
Yeah, there it is.
Smeundo em
Hold
tot
it.
de essing?
Fravintnem emes quintagent.
Fraglia dau dent, es vel em tegedem velu.
See, what she's got is some I would say boob armor, but it's like mono boob armor. Wait, what did I call what? Oh, that the Renoixa, the Bridge Alliance people, were in some way poisoning the river with their evil, nasty industry. Which is rather fitting to the thematics of this game.
Hey, you! What are you doing in our river?
We're working. What does it look like?
Our people are being poisoned by something that's in the water and the fish. And that's where we find you.
Yeah, except we're miners, not poisoners. I don't know what's going on with your people, but it's got nothing to do with us. Leave and let us work.
I mean, maybe it does, though.
You and your land-scoring Moin are responsible for it. You won't get away with this.
No, no, whoa, 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 calm down, calm down.
Anilain for Varshai dead. Hastagen tiwigau savereme. Es moja puisig da dugi de kwetsjart.
Agat gailu dadem. Radid mev daur held farberwi for
Yeah, let's chill, okay?
Esvir. Lemat radidis quint. Beroident mera.
Look, our friends have been getting sick ever since you started mining near the river. All we want to do is save our people. Can you understand that? And to do that, we need to understand what's going on there.
I'm telling you, we're not doing anything that will poison anyone. We're just mining. It's not complicated. Besides, the guards won't let you in.
Maybe they could see for themselves if they went to work there for a while?
As if there weren't enough natives there already. And with the theft, they're not hiring anymore.
Sure they are. They just need a recommendation. Just tell them I sent you. My name is Ganimet. Go talk to the master of the mine. He's always in need of more workers.
Thank you. We'll take your advice and get a job.
Mens vregu des vergeju da herrenaixa. Da regach neis dale mis jesno? Fravindem kasur sient nama bujed. Sadone men janemi dent ni.
Es radeem es durga ir. Hagem fravindem kakovir kakwet nei miden der neis luchton. Ka hekter quodai ragamiagam.
Nas kam aridenger. Advad. Serto.
Budvel da roidi began eladagiyam corridendent. Da iridem nas neimene.
Okay, so reputation among companions, dialogue, quests for them. Okay, good and bad reputation. Gotcha. Bonus talent point. In the party. Okay. Can I just take some sludge from here? Oh, hey, I need that. Thank you. Got a nice mud sample. All right. So let's Oh, I'm going in wildly the wrong direction, aren't I? Going much too far here. If I include in the mine, I could do that, but I also don't want to do that yet. I want to go back down to the forest, so that I can do this quest next. There we go. So that means... No, wait, I'm going to search this area a little bit first. Just kind of wander around some. Tiny bit to get some, loot and stuff. Then I'll head over. Anyway, yeah, I think that JD Vance is wildly out of his depth and has, from what I can tell, I don't think he has any relevant expertise in ethics, in just war theory, or hell, even in political theory. Sure, he is a politician, but it's not like he actually studies politics at all. Hey, look, it's those things. What am I doing here, anyway? I don't need to go this way, do I? Oh, this is if I want to sneak into the fort, which I don't, really. In fact, I'm going to get out of here a bit, and then I'm going to As I said, I'm going to fast travel back. Because I can always just fast travel here. Oh, maybe I can't. Okay, I need to unlock that as a fast travel location. I'm going to do that. Ow. Yeah, I'm going to unlock that as a fast travel location first so I can just come back here later. Then maybe I'll also rest through the night here at this fast travel spot. Yeah, rest until dawn. All right. Okay, let's head back out, this time into the forest. Ancient forest. Dead creatures. Okay. That might be useful information. Might have useful information. The Ancient Forest, I'm guessing that this is going to also lead back to the Bridge Alliance settlement over yonder, but let's... by that I mean both this path, the area I was just looking at, as well as this quest is probably going to point us towards the Bridge Alliance. Because in the first game, they were the ones that had the most direct conflict with the natives. The only other major conflicts with the natives were a few incidental little kerfuffles with the Merchants Congregation, and then some particular extremists, some like Inquisitor types in Teleme. But they were outliers. Whereas the Bridge Alliance was... it was most of them that were causing problems.
SSA with Wotam Sergas. Es nama hankinam do hoiragi with Lorgomenno.
Okay. Hey, crafting table. Ooh, nice bow. Here. You need a nice new bow, don't ya? Can I upgrade this? How? Can I upgrade it? Do I have the things for this? High ground damage bonus. High ground. Oh, high ground. That's it. Okay, and crit chance. Damage without shields. I don't have a sufficient level for any of these. Okay, cool. Cycling? No. Craft? Let's see about fencing weapons. Cavalry saber, that'd be nice. I need craftsmanship level 2, though. Darn. I thought my cape did that. I mean, a steel two-handed longsword I could theoretically just make. I don't have tin ore, though. Daggers. Oh, I could just make that. Wave bracelets. Silver sun rings. Taleme rings, okay. There's U-bow. Musket. I can almost make a musket, but I need a whole bunch of stuff for it. No. Pistols. Lookouts. Tokwe. Have it. Have one of those. Boots. Necklace. I need more leather. Means I need to kill animals to get. Yeah, I can just make this. I want to make it. Yeah, I'm gonna make those. Why not? There. Okay. Alright, that's fine.
Selkama. Es nuyet.
Es lorgon de triveron. Neser goiga. Nama serhem ent.
Okay, let's follow them, shall we? What's that?
I can't do it.
Oh. What in the world? Oh. There are Bridge Alliance people around here. With guns. Interesting. All right. This is right near. Right over here is right where I think the tracks are. But let's head this way. Have I heard of Crimson Desert? Who hasn't heard of Crimson Desert? Not to say that,
The trail goes this way.
not to say I've played it or anything. This area is full of traps. Okay. Detect them, adopt a stealth posture to avoid setting them off. Traps displayed depending on survival. Okay, chances are determined by the roll of the dice.
Otegeden te kamai se gaiga en essa. Quel shaitem na krechteden den sies.
Can I just, literally avoid them? Oh. I mean, that would track with what we've heard, that they were, that a bunch of these creatures were found as if they were bitten.
Es ist ein Hongo Baragenoila. Es ein Contortament.
Okay, postures, yeah, I know. Hold on. There. And power shot on you. Finish you off. Focus fire. Okay, let's see. Alright, how is he doing? How's our buddy? He's not doing so great. He's full up. We're good. Beehive? Interesting. Okay. And then we'll just finish off on that one. Focus fire. Excellent.
A gongober, kwetsjart, krijgt dit way?
Oh, es far nu fradi da he
Ooh,
hawelas
he's
de
got a
bartoesa.
nasty gash, huh?
Me, sag brender far magalei en renon erni. Anna tug du quada hengeri dent ector grectidor, dent quaes moi. Nasiendu degedak dent da haku voredi, bud ector nadent.
Fravins de quinnia des Sadalan?
Yeah, come on. We know.
Ja, en enie dent quahe venden, yeramendent. Es een salgament casin, da he crocena.
Smeunze mis quintag de hessien daue sitena Sadelan.
Es daug, mareden sa genen e mile en engladem ovonag, ac ector hanoidu. Genta, benen olbia di dawi. Grectidend oila ja abelend keur. Neu tosrenen vigagejanas enkanam da viut en salgam da varadent. Ages folad en maradend magarantam, mana voradenten. Koldem marak kremkenei.
We gotta help, obviously. But before that, right, so Crimson Desert. So what I've heard about it is... How do I put this? From what I've heard, it's super popular with normies, but that it has some serious problems. And that those problems are that it tries really hard to do everything. Right, that it has all of these pointless little systems for everything under the sun, every different style of gameplay that you could ever want. And so it doesn't have a sort of core identity or a gameplay loop. It's just kind of smattered all over the place. So I don't know. It doesn't seem to me to have anything like a coherent identity. Now, if you're looking for, okay, here's a recommendation for a fantasy game. It is it's out there. It's not typical. So grain of salt, but if this sounds like the kind of thing you might be interested in, check it out. So it is it's called Where Winds Meet. It's a wuxia game. So it's a actually this will kind of track with your interest. It's a 10th century. It's set in the 10th century. But in China. And so it has the typical wuxia, like, old-style kung fu movie tropes. And so it is a kind of fantasy game, but it's low fantasy, so it's, humans and, there's some, like, demon spirits and things. But it's all, like, supernatural heroics and cool martial arts and stuff. The best part is that it's free, and it is, quite frankly, probably... It is probably the best free-to-play game I have seen, at least in a while. Maybe ever, but at least in a while. The only monetization for it is for like quest pack expansions, that sort of thing, and for like things like cosmetics. Not too into it. Not too into old mythological China. Oh man, it's cool. I've always been way more into Chinese mythology than Japanese, frankly, and that honestly comes back down to having trained in kung fu when I was a kid, rather than karate, or rather than being super into anime. But I was into old, like, ancient Chinese culture, Great Leap Forward Chinese culture, that sort of thing. Okay, fantasy settings inspired by any land that borders the Mediterranean or Persian Gulf. Crimson Desert is far more Northern European. But also, it's got weird magical bullshit. Like jetpacks, stuff like that. Like, a lot of it, like, I'll see things associated with Crimson Desert, and I'll be like, wait, what? What is this doing in a low medieval fantasy setting? Like, what? Weird. Weird, man. Fantasy setting inspired by any land that borders the Mediterranean or Persian Gulf. Prince of Persia? That series? It might be something to check out if you haven't, or haven't in a while. Because I played them. I played 1 and 2 when they came out. That was a long time ago. If you've never played Dragon Age, do that. 100%. Play Dragon Age Origins and the two all three. Okay, wait. There's more than 3 DLCs, but the 3 important ones: Awakening, which is basically a sequel. It's a huge expansion. Witch Hunt, which leads into the sequels and is genuinely quite good, and Liliana's Song, which is the story of how Liliana, one of the main characters, one of the main companions, learns how to stop being a lesbian and be a nun instead. So check that out. Dragon Age Origins is one of the best RPGs ever made. So, can't recommend it highly enough. Dragon Age 2 was very good, but a distinct step down, mostly just because of a rush production. Then Dragon Age Inquisition is yet another step down in terms of everything but game design. By that I mean the writing, the world building, everything like that is a major step down, but it does manage to be, strictly speaking, probably a better game, a better RPG than Dragon Age 2. Still not as good as 1, as Origins, but Inquisition was still good. Still good. So yeah, I recommend it. The Witcher. It's more Poland, so it's like northeastern Europe. Might be a little bit out of your area, but and it has a feel for the late High Middle Ages into the Renaissance kind of thing. That is the sort of cultural feel of it. So it might not be your jam. Oh. Yeah, Dragon Age is great. Trying to think of what else I'd recommend. If I think of anything, I'll let you know. Let you know if I think of anything. I mean, take a deeper look into Crimson Desert, but actually look at some of the criticisms as well, because I think that the criticisms are pretty significant. So don't necessarily jump into it if you're not going to be interested, because it also does seem the kind of thing that you can either just sort of get lost in, possibly even without having a good time, but then also it could be the kind of thing that you'd pick up, get bored with, and put down pretty immediately. So it really just depends. At least that's what it looks like to me. But yeah, you might dig Prince of Persia, the series. I don't know if you've played them. It's again, it's an older series. Came out in the early noughties, I think. It was a PlayStation 2 and GameCube release. I don't know if it was out on Xbox. It might have been. The first couple of them were, at least. There's, of course, Assassin's Creed, which the first few games are absolutely kind of within that region. Most of them, after the first one, they are much later time period-wise, but still might be interesting. There were some good elements. There were some good parts, good things about the classic, let's say, the classic Assassin's Creeds. Like first 4. And by first 4, I mean Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. 3 was okay. It was set in the American Revolution, and 4 was really good, but it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game. It was a pirate game. I didn't like Shadows. Felt too whack. Ignore Shadows, please. Ignore modern Assassin's Creed. Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. Ignore those two, I guess. I've never played any of the modern ones, but I guess the RPG elements have their draw. But wait, you Impsimp of all people didn't care for the first 2? And the Ezio spin-off? Are you serious? You didn't care for the 4 good ones? The ones that are set in Acre, in the Holy Land during the Crusades, your time period. The one that's set in Renaissance Italy, in Rome specifically, and then in Byzantium. The Revelations was set in Byzantium. Like, what? You of all people, I thought, would dig those ones in particular. Into the series at 3. I mean, okay, fine, but like, you can always go back. You wish they'd remake 1. Wasn't Mirage kind of a remake of 1? Renaissance is one of the most boring time periods. Yeah, I guess. That's fair. That's fair. I don't disagree there, really. Yeah, the Ezio games were... The first two were in Italy, so Italy and then Rome specifically, and then the third Ezio game, which was Revelations, that was in Byzantium. Yeah, I totally think that you'd dig that. But maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm off on your taste. I could be. You know you better than I know you. So, yeah. Anyway, you know. All right, let's agree to help, and then we'll probably have to do that next week. Also, I'm going to. Oh, yeah. Cool. Well, got a bunch of stuff. Regeneration system. Require the use of rest, skills, and consumables. Okay, only rest enables your team to fully restore. Okay. Alright, that's fine. You don't find too much cool stuff going on in the West between 1453 and 1670s. Alright, that's fair. I don't find much cool going on in the West between 1277 and 1977. Alright, how do I... I have... I'm gonna try and fix this now.
Inquid veludedam. Es cleusem renaixem en nason amfrisam. Fregde de wind venum juri. Es had grimoderig. Ma vrencam es fonteram oirk dagochsam.
Es vel es in na tegedach en fonteram, sagt tegedach sachu voridi.
Let's try it.
Lemmat es arade adgai lu quid furkandam. Gumaros on hamsteram.
Oh shoot, I should have switched capes.
Es sin. Cantabeds began vel kene canolad.
Ja, ad lorida. Na kante be de
He looks like a goober. Look at his face, dude. Sorry for making fun of you. You're obviously in pain. Hey, let me switch capes. Alright, let's try this again. Yay!
Fregduer.
Ad lochidar. Smeundu am a bol medesa.
Na voredwe eduven. Es rade de hairagi request de sibidach chedawi. Fragberu var hastuis.
Okay, I need to bring back a consumable or an item. You have several options. Craft it by or to find it. Craft at the workbench requires a minimum skill level. Okay. Buy from a merchant. Find it. Alchemists can prepare consumables. Blacksmiths can craft or upgrade your equipment. Not present in all regions. Okay, what do I need to do here? I need to find out about that. I'll get around to it. Help the hunters. 2 minor lizard ointments and 2 minor healing potions. Yeah, I need to go back to that crafting table, don't I? Wrappers. Alright. I'm gonna make these. Try and make these, and then I'm gonna run back. And then, well, I'm gonna try and make these, and then I'm gonna save and quit, because it's almost midnight. Craft. Where's potions? Minor healing potion. Here we go. Right? That's what I need. Lizard ointment. I need purple canna lily. Shoot. Okay. Lizard ointments. Formerly led by the Dungada of the village of Winchavaye. Generates a small percentage of life periodically. Hold group of combat. Okay. I need another animal bile and purple canna lily. Okay. We don't have any. Alright. Holy Father said, "Woe to those who manipulate religion for their own military, economic, or political goals." Gain, sorry. He also said tyrants were waging war across the world. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Escape the flames of hell, tax your people excessively. Yeah, that too. I mean, look. I mean, first of all, I have to say that in that instance, I don't think he was actually talking about the U.S. government. Now, what he says applies to the U.S. government, that's for damn sure. But I don't think he was talking about the U.S. government there. Just given the context, he was talking about Algeria, first of all, but then the rest of Africa as well. He was talking about the various persecutions and civil wars and such that are currently going on in Africa, which is what he was focusing on at the time in that speech. So let's not just wildly interpret everything that the Holy Father says in our present American political context, because I think that is a bit of a recipe for disaster. And quite frankly, oh, this one interesting. These ink. Let's turn it down to high, shall we? See, look at this. This is why I have missing video memory. I'm assuming that's probably why I was having trouble loading in textures. Anyway. Okay, I have 4 minutes before we get to go, so I will very briefly discuss the heresy of Americanism. In short, yes, that is a true but insufficient explanation, putting the state over the church. Specifically, though, it is treating spiritual matters as being beneath or subservient to temporal matters. So that is not necessarily about, say, the violation of the Two Swords Doctrine or something like that. It isn't necessarily about the relationship between the church and the state. It is more broadly about the relationship between the temporal and the eternal. So it is treating, for example, a non-American example of an Americanist heresy, or an example of the heresy of Americanism, would be the extreme pragmatists, which you find more commonly in Britain than in the US. People who say they want a cultural Christianity because they like the effects that it brings out to their society, but don't actually care about or believe, and will even actively disregard and discount the truth claims of Christianity and the relationship with God that it requires. Right? These are people like, now Richard Dawkins has said things like this. Carl Benjamin of Lotus Eaters has said things like this. He's still an atheist, but likes Christianity. But likes it for the sociological effects that it has. Right? So it's making the eternal, it's making the supernatural subservient to mere temporal matters of temporal concern. Right? Now that can mean, and it probably most commonly means, taking the state to be superior to the church, and that the role of the church is in support of the state. And so, assuming that, say, the president has authority over the bishops in every way, or in all matters, or even in political matters, right? Because they don't, right? The presidents, temporal rulers, do not have authority over the bishops in political matters, except perhaps instances of law, right? That bishops can't break temporal laws. Right? The church has never taught that. But when it comes to matters of moral authority, even ones that have to do with politics, the church absolutely has a role, because the transcendent, the supernatural, the eternal, is more fundamental to reality than the temporal, the finite, the material, the particular, this worldly stuff, right? So that is what is at the heart of the heresy of Americanism, which is why it also, notably, applies to taking the, much as I'm perhaps loath to admit these sorts of things, it also applies to taking the market to be above and more significant than the church. And this is why you can have statements like from Rerum Novarum, and the kind of thing that Francis said quite a lot, that that what they both called unbridled, quote, free markets are an aberration, just like something like socialism or whatnot. And that isn't to say that the bridles on the market ought to be the state and legal restrictions, because that's, again, just getting dangerously close to Americanism. That is saying that, well, these temporal laws need to be in place to control these temporal effects that are market forces. Okay, shut up. That doesn't matter. What we're talking about is ethical guidance, spiritual guidance, and having a divine end in mind, even in circumstances that are, market-driven, having to do with exchange or money or that sort of thing. Right? So discounting the significance or importance of the spiritual or even of the moral, that is something more like the sin of Americanism. And that's how it would apply to say, free markets just as much as it would apply to the state. So it's not necessarily, again, it's not a political statement. It's not specifically about America. The reason Leo XIII called it Americanism was because he found it to be characteristic of American society, though not unique to it, not even originating in it. It originated really back in Europe, back quite a ways. At least back to the 18th century, probably earlier. Imsim passes. One last question, because it's after midnight. Does being a radical zealot for Christ mean giving your all to the poor, feeding the hungry, living a life of prayer, etc., rather than zealots of other faiths? Depends upon your station in life. Right? Radical giving and radical poverty is not what everyone is called to, and it may in fact even be inappropriate for some people to do that. Some people are not called to do that. To use an analogy or an illustration that Bishop Barron has used in a few places, where he says that the religious calling to monastic life, and the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, and even other calls, other callings like other great sacrifices of worldly goods, things like that, they cannot, even in principle, be universalized as a good for all Christians. Because if all Christians swore oaths of poverty, chastity, and obedience, then Christian civilization would immediately come to an end. Because it wouldn't propagate itself. It would have no would have no world to interact with, no way of interacting with that world, and it would have no means to achieve anything. Worldly means to achieve anything. We can't do that. Now, it is an immense spiritual good to those who are called to do that, but it isn't everyone. That's absolutely crucially important. Even St. Paul acknowledged this, that yes, the call to celibacy is higher than the call to marriage, but that isn't for everybody, and some are in fact called to marriage. And for those people, that is a genuine good. I mean, the worldly life can be absolutely good, and it can be glorifying to God. Anyway, all I got time for. So, thank you guys for joining me for this one. I am... Let's... Maybe save, why not? There we go. I'm loving the game so far. It's pretty cool. It is, like I said, the combat is very different from the first game. But like I said, it reminds me a lot of Dragon Age Origins, so I like it a lot. I like it a lot so far. Playing as a native is interesting, and I'm waiting to see how the twist happens, how the turn looks once we sort of go off back to the continent. So anyway, should be really cool. I am thinking about changing my streaming schedule starting next week to Monday, Wednesday, rather than Tuesday, Thursday. Because Tuesdays and Thursday nights are a little bit shaky for me, moving forward with how my schedule is looking. So I'll yap about that a little bit in the Discord. So if you have thoughts on the matter, if you want to see me stream, I got Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and maybe even Saturdays are pretty much open for streaming. So pick a couple of those days that you would like to see me do this and Fable. So, thanks again for joining me. I had a good time. I hope you did too. I hear my poor little children screaming and laughing in the background, a little bit of both, so I'm going to go see what's up with them. Have a wonderful night. Till next time, remember, don't be safe, be well, more importantly, be good. Night, folks.